Good morning, everyone. I'm very, very honored to have the opportunity to do this inspiration this morning. Miriam called me last week on Monday and asked me to do this, and I was very excited. So the first thing I started thinking about, it was inspiration. And I started, going, what am I going to talk about? And, what books am I going to look at? I'm going to run around looking for my Chicken Soup for the Soul, or Augmentino, or maybe Google. And, as I'm walking through my week and I'm looking for inspiration, I found it. But I didn't find it in a book or online or, in a quote. I found it in a family, and a couple, and a husband, and a father. So it's going to take a few minutes to share this, and please indulge me. And Miriam does want you to know that this is not the precedent for future inspirations, but I think that you really appreciate the story. In August, I was lucky enough to be referred a couple, and a wonderful young couple, married couple. He's a cop in New York City, and she worked for a pharmaceutical company. And they only had one challenge, and that challenge was they needed a house right away because they were pregnant with triplets. Oh. I know, 4 months pregnant with triplets. She's already out to here, adorable. He was so wonderful to her. So we started looking right away. And as we were looking, they already started to be different to me. I would get texts in the middle of the week just thanking me for what I was doing and saying I was doing a great job. And then when I saw it, and it was Ed and Aqua, when I ran into Aqua next time, I said, thank you so much for the text. She said, what text? I said, well, the text telling me I'm doing a great job. And she said, that wasn't me, that was Eddie. I didn't even know it happened. And I'm thinking, cop, New York City, what a nice guy, right? We found a house, awesome, they're so excited. She's going further into her pregnancy. And we went into contract. We were trying to get it done really, really quickly because they knew they needed to get in. Babies were due in December, probably would have them in November. They wanted to be in the house in October. So everything was moving along, but by mid-September, the babies decided they wanted to come. Yeah. So of course she went into the hospital. They pushed, tried to prolong the pregnancy, and a couple of weeks later, 2 weeks later actually, they had the babies. They had Edward, Ethan, and Elijah. Tragically, Edward died 2 days later. But through this process, I was in touch with them trying to figure out how we can get things done. And they never ever complained. They never ever, oh, it was me. They were wonderful. And now I just wanted to do everything I could for them. So what happened now is this week, we had the closing date scheduled. So I got a phone call from Ed and said, we're setting up the walkthrough. And Thursday's the closing date. Wednesday we're going to do the walkthrough. He said, I only have one problem. They're in Brooklyn, the two babies are in Brooklyn, and they had to move one of the babies to Manhattan for an operation on his heart because there was some blood going into his lungs. The operation was scary enough, but moving him was the big deal. And that was going to happen on Wednesday, the day of our walkthrough. So I said, what do you need to do? We'll do whatever you need. He said, we'll do it early. So I said, we'd set it up 8:30 in the morning. He'll come out from Brooklyn, and then we would have the home inspector come back, and then we'd get him back into Brooklyn as quickly as possible. Whatever I could do for these guys. Never complained, never any kind of, woe is me. This guy was amazing. That morning we were there. We're scheduled for our closing the next day at 3. So we're there at 8:30. He's there already. We do the walkthrough. It's the first time I've seen him since the babies are born. He showed me pictures on his iPad. There was every single day, each baby had their own little album of what they look like, right? How beautiful. We went through the walkthrough. Again, nothing. You would just imagine what you're going through. You're being torn, everything. And he was so thankful. He even thanked the home inspector. Say, thank you for being here. He just paid him $100. Thank you for being here. This guy just really amazed me. And when we spoke, we talked about the baby being transferred that day. So I said, we set up for the next day, and I left, and he was on my heart so hard that day. I was just praying for that baby. And I realized I couldn't do that alone. I needed help. So I did something I never did before, and I went onto Facebook, and I asked for prayers. And I put a little bit about their story, and you might have saw it on my Facebook page. And I swear, before I even hit post or send, people started pouring love back to me. And likes and thanks and prayers. It was hundreds of people. I'm talking CEO of corporations, major speakers from around the country. I mean, agents from all over, friends and family. They just wanted this baby to do well. So later on that night, I got a text that the baby was transferred okay. So I put it out there, and people thanked me for telling me, and praying for the next day for the surgery. So next morning, I got a text from Eddie. It's around 10 o'clock in the morning, and their baby was being surgery at 11. We have a closing at 12, and this is in Manhattan. and we had to be in Hicksville, which is, you know, if you live on Long Island, you know, LIE, you want to be on, right? And it turns out that they moved the baby's surgery till 3 o'clock. Right? What are you going to do? I text him back, what do you need? I'll do whatever you need. He said, we'll be there. We'll be there. We need to close this house. Because in his head, he needed to have his home for his babies when they were ready to come home. So I called the attorney. I'm like, we got to do something. I mean, if I could, I would have taken everybody into Manhattan. And the attorney, they did everything to get them in there early. And just, I mean, basically everything was done. Money was there. Everything just needed to sign the papers. So I get a text from them on the way in. Traffic is horrible. Do you ever have that day when traffic's horrible? You're on an appointment, you go on an appointment, you get all frustrated, and you walk in and you're like all frustrated, right? Well, they got there like 2:45, somber, quiet, but appreciative. Didn't complain, wasn't short, wasn't angry. You know, me, I have one baby in Manhattan waiting to be operated, might be operated on right now, another baby in Brooklyn. And I'm going to say to the attorney, listen, don't talk to me, just I'll sign whatever you want. They never ever stopped the attorney from sharing what he needed to tell them. They never were short with the other end. That they were just wonderful. And the whole time, Ed's just stroking Aqua's back. And just, you know, they were speaking to each other a little quietly. And I felt a little bad because you know at that moment when you buy your first house, you know, you guys all feel that, right? You remember that excitement when you watched them and they were missing that. Because they had other things on their mind. So we're getting close to the end, and I asked, you know, Eddie if he had the keys. He goes, they're right there on the table. And I said, well, he goes, no, I'm not touching them until they're ready, until we're done. I said, okay. I said, do me a favor, before you do that, let me know. I want to take a picture of that moment. Because I want to be able to take that picture and send it to them, so one day they'll remember that moment, because that's the moment they got their house. And, you know, I understand it's not that important as their babies, but I wanted them to have that moment. So we did. We took that picture and I sent it off to him really quickly, right from the closing. And, you know, what happened was the baby had not gone into surgery while we were there. We were watching the phones and all that stuff. And they got back in the car at a little after 4 in the afternoon in New York to get back to Manhattan. Not a fun thing. So, of course, I stayed in touch with him. Later on that night, around 8 o'clock, I texted him and said, how'd everything go? And he texted me back, they just took the baby now. I know. Could you imagine all day long waiting for that moment to have your baby go into surgery? This guy just blew me away. So right after I got that text, I checked my email, and I received an email back from him about that email I sent it from, about the photo. And in that email, I looked and it said 7:04 when he sent it. And I'm thinking, where was he when he wrote this? He must have been in the pediatric, you know, ICU, sitting next to his baby, waiting for the doctors to come take him. And this is what he wrote me. Joanne, where do I begin to express my genuine and sincere thankfulness? Now, this is not about me. I just want you to know that. This is about every single one of us as WCR members, because we all do this for our clients. So I want you to put your name in it. It's not about me. It's about what the character of a man who can write this. Where do I begin to express my genuine and sincere thankfulness for all you have done to help our growing family in our home purchase? You have been an unwavering foundation of support and have gone above and beyond any and all our expectations. It has been our pleasure to work with you. Finding the right house, navigating all the paperwork, and getting the right lender, while important, is nothing compared to gaining your friendship. One of the best parts of the entire process was getting to meet you and developing a true friendship with a wonderful woman/person. Thank you for the bottom of my heart, and we look forward to having you over for dinner and formally introductions with the boys. Eddie, Aqua, Ethan, and Elijah. Right? So I write him back. Dear Ed, you're one of the sweetest people I've ever met. You blow me away with your ability to be so appreciative of others, while you and your lovely family are dealing with so much. I will always think of your strength, kindness, and ability to be appreciative and caring of others no matter what is happening in your personal life. I have the honor of performing the inspiration this coming Monday at the opening of the New York State Women's Council of Realtors training that I'm attending. I had been working on my inspirational speech and what it's going to be about, and I believe I found my answer. With your permission, I would like to share a little of your story and how you have handled yourself and how you have the ability to be still so grateful and caring of others. My inspirational talk will give my audience the vision of how it is possible, no matter how difficult our circumstances, there's still a way to touch others and make them feel special, appreciated, and loved. Is that okay with you? I look forward to officially meeting Ethan and Elijah, and even though I will never have the honor of meeting Edward, I will always think of him and know how special he is because he's yours and Aqua's baby boy. So I sent that off, and later that, I spoke to him, and baby went through the surgery and everything went well. And I sent that out on Facebook because everybody's now watching and listening and waiting to hear. And the next morning I get this from him. Joanne, it will be an honor, a privilege, and a blessing for you to include us in your inspirational talk. If sharing our story can inspire other people to grow, learn, and work to improve someone else's life, it could help us make some sense of all that's happened to us. I wish you luck, and I would love to hear and read your presentation. I know you will do well, and they're all lucky to be able to learn from one of the best at NAGWA. Inspiration. Now there's 3 things that I got out of this, actually a lot more, but 3 I want to talk to you about. We're moving into our year of leadership, and we're going to have a phenomenal year. And there's 3 things that I'm never going to forget Ed did for me. One is, if you remember this, for no reason at all, send a text to your members, to your leadership, to your secretary. Tell them how good they are. For no reason at all. It'll make a difference. 2, you're going to feel overwhelmed. It's going to be tough. Sometimes it's going to be really tough. Remember, there's an army of miracle workers out there. Ask for help, like I did on Facebook. Right? Ask for help. They want to help you. The 3rd thing is there's got to be challenges. We're going to have sickness. We're going to have people with physical and emotional, financial. It's going to happen in our year. And we might even have death. God forbid. Ed taught me to be more than my circumstances. Don't let that be your day. You surround you with everybody around you with that whatever's happening in your life. Be more. And we will have a wonderful year. And I thank you for the opportunity to share this story with you, and I know it took a little long, but I want to thank Ed and Aqua for being my inspiration. Thank you.